Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you guys my process when it comes to rigging this recent artwork that I did. So to get started, what I normally do is grab a armature human metal rig. For this particular model I won't be rigging the face, so I'll get rid of the face bones. And if you're not using the face, you want to make sure to get rid of this small bone inside this main head bone. I also won't be using the chest bones, so I'll get rid of those as well. And now that I've got the base armature, what I'm going to do now is just align the joints and the bones inside the mesh so that it matches the volume of this character model. So I'm just going to do this for all the bones. And in terms of the hand, what I like to do is turning on the snapping tool with the face selected. What this allows me to do is snap the joints on top of the mesh. This makes it a lot easier for me to align the joints with the fingers. So here I'm just going to align the joints. And once it's aligned, I'm gonna go into wireframe and select the bone to move it inside the mesh. I'll also need to do this for all the fingers, but because I've already made an armature previously for this character, I won't be doing that. Okay, so here I'm just gonna align the foot bones. But for this particular bone here, I just move it outside the mesh. So here, now that I've got the final rig, I can now start generating the Rigify rig. And to do that, you go under this tab and then the Rigify button, just click on the generate rig. And as you can see, this generates a control rig with the armature. And so if you go to pose mode and move the handles, you can see how the IK is working properly. For this particular model or character, I'll need to add some extra bones for the bug and also his cape. So to do this, what I'm going to do is go into edit mode and select all the bones, and so I do this by clicking A and then just hiding it. Now under the layers tab, so under this tab here, and then the layers section, just shift click on this layer. Now this is only going to show the deformation bones, which is going to be used in the final game rig. Here's where I'm going to add the extra bones. So to do that, I'm just gonna duplicate this bone and then just use it for calculating the weight paint on the bug and also the cape. So here I'm going to use 3 bones for the bug, just so that it's easier to weight paint. Now here I'm just going to rename it so it's much easier to know which bones these are later on. here there's an issue where it still has the constraints from the head bone that I duplicated. So to fix that issue, I'm just gonna remove it from the constraints tab, and that should fix it. For the cape, what I'm gonna do is similar to the bug by just duplicating a bone. It doesn't really matter which one it is, as long as it's parented to the right bone. So here I'm just duplicating the thigh bone and placing the bones on the cape. And similar to the bug, I'll just rename it. So I'm just gonna extrude and add bones so that it covers most of the cape. Now that I've got the extra bones added, I can now assign the weight paint onto this character model. So to do this, all I need to do is select the armature first, and then A to select all the models or objects. And now under the automatic weight paint option, I'm just going to choose that, and this is going to assign weights automatically. But as you can see, there's going to be issues with the weight paint, so I'll need to fix that. So here I'm just going to check all the handles to see which weight paints I'll need to fix. So I'm just going to move the IK for the hands and feet. It's good to always do this before you start fixing the weight paint, so you know which ones you need to really fix. For example, to see the weight paint, just go into weight paint mode, and to do this just press Ctrl tab and selecting weight paint. And now if I select the object that I want to check, I can check which vertex group it's assigned to. So as you can see, this part of the vest is assigned to spine 01. But to fix the issue with the hand, what I'm gonna need to do is select the object or the arm, and then just go into weight paint. Now going under the vertex group, I'll just check the arm bones or vertex groups and see how the weight paint is distributed. So if I feel like I need to fix the weight paint, then I'll add weight to it by using the add brush. So as I can see from this upper arm vertex group, I don't want this part of the arm to be weight painted, so I'm going to subtract weight paint from it. So to do that, I'm just going to go to the draw brush, and then just selecting the draw, I'll change that to subtract. So I'm just going to subtract some weight paint so that it doesn't include this when moving it. What I like to do after subtracting the weight paint is normalizing everything, just to balance out the weight paint and also just smoothing it out. Now here I'm just gonna check again, see if it made it any better. So it has made it a bit better, but it's still pulling some vertices, so what I'm gonna do again is just check if I've removed all the weight paint from this part. And so I can see that it hasn't fully subtracted it. So I'm just gonna go over it again. For this part I'm gonna smooth it out because it's too sharp on this shoulder, so I'm just gonna smooth it out using the the average tool. This allows me to smooth it out and averages out all the weight paint. So here I'm checking again. I can see that it's still pulling some unwanted vertices. So this is always gonna happen, and so what I'm gonna do next is by checking the other vertex groups. So the one below the upper arm L, that would be the other vertex group for the upper arm. So I can see that it hasn't included or excluded this part for this vertex group, so I'll just subtract it. So now if I check the handle and move it, it's a lot better now. So it doesn't move the mesh on that part anymore. So okay, so that's fixed for that part. But what I don't like is how it's also pulling this part of the head of the bug, so I'll also need to fix that. And as you can see, if I'm moving it, it pulls these parts of the bug. So I'm going to select this head, and similar to how I fixed the arm, I'm just going to go into weight paint and just check the vertex group. So as you can see, this part of the head is assigned to the shoulder vertex group, so I don't want that from happening. So I'll just select the head in edit mode and then just remove it from this vertex group. So I'll just do that for the upper arm as well. And also this vertex group, just in case. So as you can see, if I move it now, it doesn't include the bug's head anymore. But so as you can see, this part of the leg is also being influenced, so I'm gonna need to fix that again, and doing the same thing as with the bug's head, I'll just remove it from the vertex group. Okay, so another thing is, as you can see, the arm is stretching, and to fix this I'll just turn down the IK stretch under the items tab. So this stops it from stretching, and I'll just do this with all the IK. So there's going to be 4 parts, there's the 2 arms and then 2 legs, so I'll just remove the IK stretch from those 4 handles. And here I'm just checking the other objects and seeing if it's influenced by the arm, and I can see that the belt is being influenced, so I just do the same thing again, and by removing this object from the arm vertex groups. So I'll just keep doing this until the arm is fully working properly and that it's not pulling any other meshes. So now that I've removed all the other objects from the arm vertex groups, as you can see, if I move the arm, it's only moving the arm now. One thing that I'm gonna fix for this one is, as you can see, it's slightly overlapping, but the main reason for this one is because the topology on the shoulder is slightly off, so it doesn't follow like a good topology for rigging the shoulder part. But to fix this issue, I'm just going to normalize the weight paint and then just smooth out the upper arm vertex group. So this should make it much smoother. And here I'm just doing the same for the upper arm. Just gonna double check. It's still there, but like I said, the topology is the main reason why it's doing this, so I'll just leave it for now. Now here I'm just gonna double check the fingers and see if it's working properly, which it is. So I'm just gonna check the other arm as well. And as I can see, I also need to fix the weight paint on this arm. So doing the same thing as the right arm, I'm just gonna change the weight paint on the upper arm by subtracting weight paint from this part of the shoulder. Now that I've done that, it should be much better now. As you can see, if I move it, it's not moving that part anymore. So for this part of the bug, I don't mind it being pulled, so I'll just leave it for now. So as you can see, it's pulling the belt, so I'll just remove it from the vertex arm groups. So as you've probably noticed by now, I'm just going to be doing this for all the controls, seeing which I need to fix. And so I'm just gonna do the same thing again for this belt. So sometimes you may struggle to find which vertex group an object is assigned to, so one way to make it easier is going into wireframe, and this is going to make it easier to see the weight paint much better. So as you can see from this belt, you see how this part is slightly highlighted, so I'll just remove that from the upper arm vertex group, and this should fix the belt. But yeah, just keep checking if it hasn't fixed it fully, like I'm doing here now. I've missed one vertex group, so I'll just remove it again from the other vertex group. And now again, I'm gonna check the other IK handles, seeing if I need to fix any other vertex group. So I'm just doing the same for the fingers, seeing if I need to fix the weight paint on that, and then on the leg, it seems fine. So here I can see that the buckle isn't properly weighted. So what I'm going to do is just check the weight paint on this. So I'm just gonna go to weight paint mode and then just double check the vertex group on it. And seeing how it's weight painted, I'm gonna decide how or which vertex group I'm gonna assign this buckle to. So for this one, I'm going to be assigning it to the pelvis spine bone. So all I'm going to do is select the object and assign it to this vertex group. And so as you can see, it's a lot better than before now. See how if I rotate it, it moves along with the belt. Here I'm just double checking the feet, seeing if the IK is working properly, and it is. Now the head I'm gonna check as well, but as you can see it's moving the bug along with the head, so I don't want that from happening. So what I'm gonna do is just exclude the bug from the head bones or vertex group. So similar to previous methods, I'll just do the same thing and remove it from the head vertex group. So one thing that I forgot to do is parenting these bones for the bug. So what I'm gonna do is select the first bone and parent it to the chest bone or the spine 03 bone. So here I'm just going to be selecting the first bone of the bug, and then under the bones tab I'm going to change the parent to spine 03. And so if I move the head, it shouldn't move the bug now, and it's still moving some parts, but that's mainly weight painting issues. So I'll just fix that by removing the weight paint from the vertex group. And now as you can see, if I move the head, it's not moving anything else. And one thing is, I can see that it's not moving this leg of the bug. So similar to before again, I'm just gonna assign this part of the bug to the last bone of the bug. And so this was named bug 03. I'm just going to assign it to that vertex group. And sometimes you may want to join the object so that it's easier to assign it to a vertex group rather than assigning it individually. So as you can see now, I'm moving the bone, it moves the entire head. So I don't want the hair to move along with the bug, so I'll just remove it from the vertex group. And now as you can see, it's not moving the hair anymore. And for this in particular, I'm not too worried about seeing the underneath of the bug. Now here I'm just double checking the head, rotating it, seeing what I need to fix. So here I want to fix the hair because it's not rotating properly. So I'm just gonna select this part of the hair and just assign it to the head bone. So this should fix the rotation issues with the hair. And as you can see, it's fixed the issue with the hair. So here I can see that this part of the hair is too sharp when rotating, so I'll just smooth it out and normalize it. Okay, and now to check everything, I'm just gonna move the pelvis, and as you can see, the leg IK stretch is still turned on, so I'll just turn that off. And yep, I'll just check all the IK handles and it's working properly. Okay, so now that I've got the control rig and I've fixed the weights painting, what I can do now is generate a game rig from this control rig. And to do this, I'm going to be using an add-on that I bought for around $15. So it isn't free, but I'll be linking in the description a video that shows the manual method. But to make a game rig from this control rig, all I need to do is just go to this generate deform rig, and this is gonna come up with these options. So with the flat hierarchy, what this allows you to do is just remove the parenting of all the bones, because if you look at a rig, for example this, you see how the bones are parented to each other. What this flat hierarchy basically does is just get rid of those parenting. So for this in particular, I won't be using it, so I'll just keep it unticked. And then disconnect is just disconnecting the bones so that they're not connected to each other while keeping the parents. So I'll just leave this on and then just leave these two for now, and then these options, just click on this and then it's gonna bring these options here. So I'll just tick that and then press OK. This should generate a game ready rig. But one thing with this rig is if I mute the constraints and then rotate this arm, you see how everything is rotated with it. But if I rotate this shoulder, you see how the arm isn't rotating along with the shoulder. So what I need to do with this rig is just fix the parenting of some of the bones. So normally it's this arm bone, and then it's the shoulder from the spine, and then these two pelvis and this pelvis, and then finally the thigh bone. I need to parent that to this pelvis bone here. And also, if sometimes you've got extra added bones, you may wanna also parent it to the right bone. So here I'm just gonna click on the upper arm bone and then shift click the shoulder bone, Control P, and keep offset. So that should parent it. Now if I rotate the shoulder bone, then it should rotate with it. But one thing that I forgot to do is turn on the symmetry, so I'll quickly do that. So I'll clear the parent for now. So Alt P to clear parent, and then okay, one sec, let me just clear the parent on this bone here. Let me check. Okay, so let me clear the parent on this bone. Now if I rotate this, okay, so if I turn on symmetry, it's gonna parent it, or parent both of these arm bones to their corresponding shoulder bones. So if I click this, shift click that, parent it, it should parent the other side as well. Yep, okay, and then like I said, if I move this spine bone here, it's not going to move the shoulder bone, so I need to parent this to the spine bone. And also these two pelvis bones, I need to parent it to the main pelvis bone. And finally it's going to be the leg that I need to parent. So as you can see, I rotated it, it didn't move the leg, so I'm going to need to parent this to this pelvis bone. And then also all these cape bones are not parented as well. So I'm gonna select all of the first bones and then shift click the main pelvis bone, keep offset. Now if I move the pelvis bone or rotate it, it should rotate all the other bones with it. So as you can see, I've fixed the parenting issue. Now if I want to animate this, I'm gonna need to turn on the control rig again. So I'm gonna unmute the constraints, and then now I can use the control rig to animate it. And as you can see, the game rig is influenced by this control rig, so this is really good for animating. And so obviously you're not going to be exporting the control rig. What you're going to be exporting for game engines is this main bone here, or the main armature for the deformation. And one thing that I forgot to do is rename this to root, because typically for game engines the armature is called root. Well, that's what I like to name it. You can just call it armature if you want to. But yeah, so this should now be ready for a game, and if you want to start animating, then you can. So I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this tutorial. Well, it wasn't really a tutorial, it was more of me showing you guys the process that I take and the things that I've learned so far. And like I've mentioned previously, I'm nowhere near an expert in rigging, so if I made a mistake, just let me know in the comments, or if you think I'm doing something wrong, just let me know. I'm open for any feedback. But anyway, thanks for watching.